Hello, welcome to the Commanding Life podcast. I am Rachel, and I am so happy that you are here with us today. In this episode, we're going to have an amazing conversation with Echo, and I will help her align and flow to what she wants most. And as you know, I believe that when you align with who you are, you flow to all that you desire. You would like a one-on-one session with me just like this, all you have to do is check out the description box below. I am so honored that you are here and you signed up to have this session. And I think this is about the sixth or seventh. I'm not sure, but they've been going really well. And a couple of things before we get started. Relax for me. It's like be as open as you want to or not be. I'm intuitive. So I like to say I hear your soul because you're my soul family, So, and only one of all the people I've met them before.
Oh,
It's it's like literally everybody just like this moment that I'm meeting for like the absolute first time. So I just want you to know, relax, it will be fun. You're part of
no
the
doubt.
so yes. So welcome again. And how can I help you align and flow? Just what's on your mind? What do you want to say about yourself? Let's just get into it.
Oh, wow. And here I was thinking you were going to ask me questions. Well, that was a question, I guess. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of yours and a big fan of Commanding Life. And so I was just tickled when you put this out there that you were inviting people in for this kind of an interaction. And I'm a big proponent of the law of attraction and being mindful and being in that state of ease and flow and allowing things to manifest and inviting them. And so I think that personally, um I'm in a funny place, inviting. Every day I start out with my notebook, and I write on one side me with a heart, and I write who, what, where, and why. And
Mm-hmm.
on the other side I write the universe, how and when, dot dot dot, because the how and when I know is not do my part. I'm a big proponent of doing my part.
Mm-hmm.
But the how and when, and so I guess it might be helpful for me to learn more about how to allow, how to just relax and get into that flow and really maximize that high vibe state of being so that it doesn't just come crashing down.
So it sounds like you help a lot of people align with, or you help others align with what they're wanting. And sometimes, as even myself, we all have moments where we need to kind of like, okay, what's going on here? How do I get back to myself? When I decided to put the call out for people to join me on the podcast, it was more to show like, hey, I actually do this as professionally with others. And it was time to kind of, and it's mostly on a referral basis, right? With all the people I help. So it's like, okay, let me open it up. But what's beautiful about you being on here is all the conversations were different. So I have people at different stages of their journey. So it's probably great for this conversation where you're at I'm aware of everything, I'm doing my work, I am maintaining, and it's just now between us a conversation is like, how do you continue, or even between us, like how do we continue to tweak when we have the
Mm.
momentum going for what we desire. So I believe all conversations are you know necessary because there's so many different people that'll be tuning in different points of their journey. So I love where you said that, and I'm a big proponent, as you know, with morning rituals and routines because I have all the journals, the books, even the messages every morning. And you could attest to this, just waking up and grounding yourself in the morning every day,
Mhm.
like literally sets the tone for your day. So I like where you said where you, I, I call it, well, it's similar to what I do or I tell others. It's like that line down the middle is like my to-dos and God's or the universe's to-dos. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So we control what we can and we allow infinite intelligence to manage the other things that we cannot. So I guess this conversation, because I like to know, I like to kind of like get people prepared for what we're about to have. It's like, you know what? It's how do you stay focused, I think is
Mhm.
the topic of what we're going to talk about. And
Sure.
yeah, you just said stay focused for you is the first thing you do is write that down. Write down what you write down. And what do you think that has done for you? And we'll get back to what you asked about because, we're going to be going back and forth. What do you think just being focused on self every morning has done for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that it helps me really be intentional and be that deliberate creator that I think, our this following or the people that are following Commanding Life, it's about being deliberate creators and recognizing when we're out of sync or feeling unease. And, and I've heard it said before, and I recently felt this, you know, I don't want to be out of that state. So when it happens now, I am very eager to do my work and get back to that vibe, that high vibe or that just that place that I was. Um, that's like my new normal. But I think that with doing that work, it creates space or it releases some of the resistance to, oh, how am I going to get this done? Or gosh, when is this going to ever happen? And those things that when I can just surrender that to God or the universe, and I can deliberately surrender that and know that's not for me, then it frees me up to focus on the who, what, where, and why. And like stay in your lane, bro, right? Like it helps me focus on, what supports my life vision? I can be very clear about that. And I think that that's what helps me stay in my zone or my lane as to, what I'm intentional about. And I'm big on affirmations. I have an affirmation practice that you might laugh, but I had to stop because I was so overwhelmed. All of a sudden I just felt like, wow, I was ready to be ready. I wasn't ready. And some things were manifesting and I had to pump the brakes on it for a minute and get my bearings because I'm not, like the millions of dollars haven't come yet, but there
Mm.
were other very significant aspects that were manifesting in my life. And it made me really seek clarity about being ready to be ready versus ready. And we all think we're ready for what we want until it arrives. And then we go, oh,
But
so I've had some
even
recalibrating to do.
because I would say, even with that, where you're like, hey, I want this, and something came into your life, in that moment, I think what people don't realize, it brought up something that showed you that it could have brought up something where you're like, is this truly what I wanted? Or is it what society says or someone says I should want? So even in moments where we're like, I was having a conversation in one yesterday and we were talking about quantity versus quality, right? And it's like we've
Mhm.
been taught as humans that we should have success is the quantity of things, whether it's the educational level we achieve, the money in the bank, the size of the home, the quantity. But that does not improve your personal quality of life. Yes, it might be better, but are you truly happy? The quality of life is a life well lived, not a life with things accumulated. I mean, things accumulated is good because we want a
Yeah.
home to feel safe, but you could be in a small home, a cozy home, and feel safe versus,
Yeah.
and I'm not anti people having quantity of things because I also feel when we have quantity, we bless others with the quantity because
Mhm.
sometimes a bigger home hires someone to clean that home and helps their family, so it's
Yeah.
it does not matter. I think people need to realize it's not what everyone says you're supposed to have. It's kind of like, what do you want to have? So you were saying that where you you affirmations and
Mm.
you were doing the affirmations and you were bringing in things that you weren't prepared for, right? So talk to me a little bit of like what you would consider like your affirmation practice for people that are, hey, I do affirmations. What do you mean it doesn't bring in what I want? But we could go back to like, what were you doing there? So we could show people that, not everyone is the same. So for people that are doing affirmations practice, it could work for them. So let us hear a little bit about that.
Sure, sure. So I'm big on a lot of I'm a huge journaler. I've journaled for 40 something years now. I have over 80 books of my life in journals. So I'm always writing. So that's my thing. And I recently I lead a WHAM group every Friday, which is a weekly accountability meeting, and it's based off the book The 12-Week Year. So I'm all about systems and processes and blah blah blah. But part of that was one of the exercises was to make a have be do list or have do be list. It was have do be. And so I just made a list of, I have a healthy, fit, slender, flexible body. Uh I have matching towels in my bag. I mean, it ran the gamut of everything, right? Like and it was more like I have this stuff or I have this thing. And then the do is, I spend quality time with my favorite people. I I I vacation multiple times a year. Um, I I do these things. I go bioluminescent kayaking, which I'm actually doing later this month. So it's so fun for me as I go through these every day. And then, out of the blue, my friend said, "Hey, let's do that." And she sent me a link. She didn't know I don't recite my affirmations to anyone else. I say them to myself in the mirror once or twice a day. And I was like, well, that checks a box. That supports my mission, that sort of thing. And then in the I am or I be column is, I am in a loving, intimate relationship with a man I respect and who respects me. And that was like the first thing to manifest. And I realized, whoa, I was ready to be ready. I wasn't like that I didn't think that way. I'm like, whoa. And it just came out and it felt like it came out of nowhere. And it was so powerful, and it just blew me over. And I had to be like, wait, I don't know, hold on,
You
so
were
that's like the
like you
most.
said. Sorry, I just had to say you were ready for it, but was it ready for you? Or I guess flip that.
Yeah.
He was ready, but were you ready, right, for what was coming
Yeah.
at
And
you?
I'm
But
like,
yeah,
wait,
sorry.
I got some, yeah, I'm like, I got some stuff to wrap up here. I'm not, hold on, like this was on my radar, but not like my right now radar. So, you got to be careful with what you put out there, so, if it's a powerful connection, you just take a deep breath. So be real clear about what you're putting on and what you're inviting into your life. And I mean, it's wonderful. But it just, I had to slow the roll, so to speak, because it's exactly what I was asking for and exactly what I want. Um, and I just, my head's spinning. So, um,
But
anyway, it's wonderful.
did it bring up in that moment that this is what I want, but you said you weren't ready? Like, what do you think that, so for people that are like, okay, I asked for something, it shows up immediately, but I'm not ready for it. Like, don't you think that's a reflection of not, because you can do, because I'm an affirmations person. I use a lot of different tools and techniques for different things, but I find that we think we know, like, so what we want, but like when it comes, we haven't cleared the fear, or we haven't cleared the the lack of certain beliefs that, like you said, like, okay, it's easy to say, oh, I want to be like in this powerful amazing relationship, and then you're facing a powerfully amazing relationship, but we didn't face the belief system within us that is making us fear this powerful, amazing relationship that says we aren't worthy or we aren't enough. So I find that affirmations are good, but like, I've, not that I don't use them, I use them in a different way, where I would say, I will give an example. I'm a powerful teacher of alignment, right? But when I say it, there's an ease about it. It's like, I know that I help people align to the best of who they are, and I'm teaching them how to do it. So there's no fear within me. So even like, I'll use the example, even coming on here, and I'm never meeting a lot of my clients before, I'm not afraid to help anyone, even if sometimes people may give me resistance. So it's also
Mm,
because I say, you know what? That resistance is in mine. My job is to help you be at ease in this conversation, right? And then once you're at ease, it's like you open up to me and that's it. I can help you. We can tweak, we can figure it out. But I've changed affirmations, but it takes me work to get to the affirmation, where I would say, instead of I am a powerful teacher of alignment, I would say, how would I want someone who is teaching me alignment to treat me, see me, right? And so even with relationships, I think everybody has these amazing lists. Oh, tall, whatever the list is, and you said powerful. I think it's important to add to whatever affirmation you're adding. How do you, like, if it's love, how do I want to be loved?
mm-hmm,
So when we're like,
mm-hmm,
I want a powerful relationship, I want a powerful relationship, and I'm clear about how I want to be loved by that person, because I did the work on how
mm-hmm,
I love myself, right? So it's
right.
just adding another step. And it's like you said, when it comes in, you're fearful, is because I know exactly how I want to be loved. And because I know how I want to be loved, I will love that person how they want to be loved, because how I want to be loved is important to me. So like the affirmation, I'm a powerful teacher, but how would I want someone to guide me through whatever it is? So I feel like when we're making I am statements, I'm a big proponent for that. You have to first flip it, so whatever it is, it goes both ways, right? So
Mm-hmm.
again, I want a powerful, loving relationship, but am I a powerful, loving person at the same time? So, and that's why my mantra, I always say to people, when we align with who we are, we flow to what we want most. So when we know who we are and truly what we want, we invite that in. So when it is that we're I am statements and $1 million lands in your lap, you're not like, oh my God, like you're prepared for
Mhm.
abundance, right? And how you
Right,
I am abundant, but people are rushing instead of saying I'm abundant
right.
with time, right? I'm abundant with loving people around me. And just in seeing those I am abundant in these things. So when you're like, I'm abundant with time, you slow down. You're not rushing because, so
Mhm.
I'm for affirmations and I am statements, and I appreciate what you said. There's a preparation before we embody and it actually materializes, because the universe will give you feedback. Oh, you want that powerful relationship? You're not ready for it. And here's why. And we need to, in those moments, really do the work to figure it out. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's it was actually a loving, intimate relationship, but it ended up it is a powerful thing, and so I'm grateful for that, and I'm definitely learning through the process, and it feels like a whirlwind, but I'm grateful for the ability to get my bearings and to slow the pace a little bit, I guess is what it is. And make it more like I'm big about feeling. So if it feels good, or I'll journal a lot and I'll say it feels so good that, or it feels so good when, or it feels so good to be on my way to achieving a goal or something. I try to really connect the feeling with the desire or the intention so that it is connected that way, and that I do bring my personal power to it. And like Joe Dispenza always says, okay, you want all these attributes in a partner. Well, are you those attributes?
How do you
Because the
want
best
it
way to
now?
attract,
Yeah.
right? The best way to attract it is to be it. So, like you're saying, do the work ahead of time. Be ready. Be the person that's going to attract this mate or this partner or this circumstance or relationship, and that makes great sense. And huge learning curve.
But and this is the best example. I will be learning things until my last breath. Just and it's that
Mhm.
I think people think that it's just like, oh, once I get the system down and I have it together, life is just gonna like flow amazingly. But there are gonna be times when I am I am going against the current instead of flowing with it. Because in the
Mhm.
moments that we're going against it, because in that moment, like we're talking about the relationship because it's something a lot of people want. In that moment, when you saw yourself being presented and not being ready, that was also a huge learning curve for you at that time. It unlocked another level of who you are, and I want people to see that, even though you're saying it's like, oh, it was whether however the relationship unfolded or not, it showed you what it needed to show you in that moment, and your awareness and acknowledgement of like, wait a minute, I thought I did the work, but I really that acknowledgement probably helped you work through it and flow through it. And despite how it turned out, I'm just, without going too much into your what you're sharing, despite how it turned out, the biggest blessing was I had to see that there was something within me. I think I'm ready for something, but the universe is like, are you really? You know what I mean? And it's like, I feel for a lot of people, they need to see that it's not even saying you're not ready. It's just another level within yourself. And we don't have to seek the levels. We all want what we want. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, it's
Right.
just It's just how well we enjoy it or receive it or allow it in. So when people hear, oh, well,
Mhm.
I'm doing I am ready for intimate, powerful, or whatever relationship, and is not coming. It's not about the relationship. It's about who, like you said, who am I being to align with this? And I
Yeah.
I always say it starts with you. Like you can't expect someone to love you to the level you want to be loved if you don't love yourself to the level you want them to love
Right.
you. So it's a reflection.
Right.
All of it, I feel like it all of it is like this circle that, of like love. And like when you were talking about emotions, it's one of the main things I always tell all my clients is like your priority is, how do I want to feel today? How do I want to
Hmm.
feel today? If you're not tuning into the vibrational, the universe's language is love. If you're not tuning in, you're not gonna create the momentum to get anything based on what you're saying with your affirmations. I am abundant. I am abundant. I'm abundant. But you're looking at your bank account and you're like, I'm broke, or whatever it is, or I want to be loved,
Yeah.
but you're on the internet, and this is just an example, spewing hate towards someone else. And that's what people need to realize is in these little moments that you choose to be kind to others. You're actually kind of also being kind or understanding, because we all 100% of humans, we all have not figured it out, and that's all that everyone is trying to do, is figure it out. So that's, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's just it's an example, but you're right, and I had a conversation with my friend Mary last week, and she said, the more work we do, the more we learn and become, and the more we evolve as people and with our understanding. She said the harder the lessons get. She's like, the more of a, maybe not harder, but more of a challenge, of like you're ascending in your awareness and your understanding. And there's like it just becomes more, it can become more challenging. And like she's saying, your test becomes your testimony, and then you help others, you bring others through that. You can be a guide for that for other people. And it's just about learning and growing, I think. And like you said, aligning with, figure out what you want and line up with it, but line up with it 100% all in. Like, this is how I want to feel about this. This is what I see when I close my eyes and I meditate. This is what comes out, and this is the recognition, and this is the evidence of this unfolding in my life. And it's really very powerful and gratifying to work through these processes.
I laugh because when you were saying, when you do the spiritual work, or I'm smiling on the inside, I should say, when you do the spiritual work, it seems like it's harder. And the analogy came, it's like when you have tried 100 scoops of ice cream and you have discovered your absolute favorite, and you cannot find your favorite flavor again, and you're pursuing that, right? If you think about it, because it's like, once you get that first taste of alignment, once you get that first taste of true alignment with like universal love, especially in moments where we quote unquote find a miracle happened in our life, or something fell into place for us, and you have like a aha moment. It's like that's like you finding your favorite flavor of ice cream, and you're constantly going through life and nothing is satisfying you as that taste was. And it will be a frustrating experience, especially when you're not in tuned with, in the moment you took for granted that taste, that love of that flavor of ice cream, and then you're going and you cannot figure it out. And for a lot of people they are aware that I don't like, because if you are aware and you took note of the name of the flavor, so to speak, right? And then you know this is what I'm going to keep intentionally putting in my mouth, or intentionally buying, or intentionally bringing into my life, because I'm aware. And when I'm tasting another flavor that I don't like, I just so want to go back to that alignment, that good feeling, because my entire life, and people are going to be like, you're always talking about food, but I think it's a universal, uh uh everybody eats, right? You know what I mean? In some
Right.
of the other
Everybody
episodes I
eats.
say
Yeah.
we're the one chewing our food, and are you gonna keep eating the ice cream you don't like, or are you gonna do the work so you can keep getting more and more? And it does, when you find the flavor you like, it really is seems harder having to eat flavors we don't like. And until we become intentional and actually refuse the flavors we don't like, and like you said, the when and how, like God will figure out how to bring more of that ice cream into your life. It's like sometimes we just have to relax and not fight going to figure it out. So it gets harder. Spiritual work appears to be harder, but it really is, because you truly understand what alignment is. We just fight a little harder or a little bit more. And we feel like it's too long in between. Sometimes
Mm.
it's like I got the goodness and I'm ready for I want to have it every single day. But sometimes we got to eat the bad flavor to remind ourselves this is truly what I want. This is truly what I want. So when you said it seems hard, it's like, no, once you get a taste of that favorite flavor, made in a specific way, it's so hard to kind of go back. So that's why I believe, it seems a little bit more challenging when you're like, but a lot of people don't even know. So when you know, it's like, I really want more and more and more alignment. So, but one other thing I say is, just because you're good, it doesn't mean you get good. So we feel like once we've gotten that good flavor, or that good, we believe once we are aware of it, we should always get it. But it doesn't work that way. Sometimes we need to go through experiences to be like, I don't like that flavor. I still really love the one, or the multiple, or the different flavors. So that's the amazing
Mm.
thing with life. But one of the questions I love to ask people is, what do you want most right now? Or what do you want?
Oh, I want I want my soon-to-be ex-husband to stop fighting me and to sign the divorce papers. That's what I want.
So when I hear
To
that,
be honest.
as an affirmations person, I want him to stop fighting me, right? And when we say that, we're actually affirming that we're being fought.
Right,
So
right.
and people was like, well, how do you rephrase that, right? Like, how another affirmation, you know what, it may just not even be with him, because we were talking about affirmations, and
Mm,
it could be where he's not fighting me. I love he's not fighting me anymore. I'm not fighting me anymore, because sometimes it's how, like you say, it's like how we're being, right? It's like, are it are there areas in my life that I am fighting me, that is being reflected through him?
mm,
Because it's
mm-hmm.
sometimes not about the person fighting us. I want to be free, is what I'm hearing your
Yes,
soul saying. And he does
yes.
not want to be free of me, right? But then at the same time, in us saying we're wanting to be free, you have to believe in another form of freedom. He is not,
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm trying to help you to see it in another way. You want whatever it is that's going on, a divorce is a piece of paper and a
Right.
finalization, whether it's the terms, whatever it's whatever else that's related to it. But I think we need to rephrase it. The piece of paper doesn't matter. You
Right.
living independently from the person. I'm assuming because some people
Yeah.
still live in the
Yeah.
same homes, but even if
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
different bedroom, you understand what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah. 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 No, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not cohabitating.
you're right. 'Cause we can't assume anything these days. But the point I'm making is if you perceive lack of freedom from something, you're not gonna feel free from it. And it really is, it's a piece of paper no matter what is going on. Like when we strip.
Right.
So then you have to also, what is the worst that could happen if you don't get the divorce? And you don't have to answer that, but you have to ask yourself, what is the worst? And if it is that we're still married, something in here is happening for me.
Mm.
Something in this process is for me. And I like to say what I think is the worst thing that can happen for me in the moment always will turn into the best thing for me. I just sometimes don't have the ability in the moment to see what it is. So when you reflect, you're free. A piece of paper does not define my freedom to live how I choose to live. And what
Right.
he is doing has nothing to do with my freedom or me. And
Right.
when he is coming in and trying to stir up drama, trying to pull me into his world or whatever it is still, you are still eating that. You have the choice to eat the ice cream you want to eat. You have the choice to eat his ice cream because he's putting it down or ignore it. Does that make sense what I'm saying? It's like you could get involved
Yeah.
with what he's trying to get you to get involved with, or you could, in
Right.
every single moment, choose how I want to feel, how I want to be. And because I've said something I think a
Right.
lot of people need to realize is for many years, you have been the person he can get a response from. Do something different, right? Like, and I speak vibrationally, so you understand exactly what I'm saying. And I think it's time where you take your power back. And in doing that is just not get involved with what he's trying to get you involved in. So you said,
Yeah.
I just want to be free. You're already free because you're choosing not to engage. And you know exactly, you get what I'm saying. And that's freedom. And you've
Yeah.
done that. I want to give you credit here. You've done that, but you don't see that's what it is that you have done. So I am bringing that to your acknowledgement that, wait a minute, I've done a great job not engaging. I've done a great job of choosing me. Maybe 90% of the time, 10%, there's a little, because when you've had an attachment to someone for that long, you will
Hmm.
feel some sense of obligation or a need to respond or different things. But especially if you share children possibly, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, everything is for you. Think about the leaps
Right.
and bounds you've made in your own personal self freedom, right? It's just a piece of paper. And the minute I free myself from the need for this, it will work out. It will just fall into
Yeah.
place. Because it could just be the person's giving you a hard time because you're continuing to respond or engage.
Yeah. 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 That's a good point. And and I hear what you're saying about that, the obligation, and and I think sometimes we treat people how we want to be treated, but that doesn't mean that they're reciprocating that, or that they're worthy of our courtesy, or always worthy of love, but not always worthy of access to us.
You
Um,
could love him as much
and
as you want from afar and free. Like, let's,
yeah, yeah,
I want
yeah,
you to know you could
because it's
love
all
it.
about
You could wish him the
it's
best.
yeah, yeah, and I do, and it's just yeah, and this is a great conversation, because if I think that I'm still tethered to him, then I am.
There you go.
So I'm
And
not.
and it's frustrating when you don't want to be. So there's this cord, whether it's imaginary or literally in document in a court of law. I'm just saying that I am tied and I'm connected to this person. But there are people that have no document and have been together for decades. And there are people that have had this exact marriage license. I'm not anti or pro, I'm not saying,
Sure.
and have been separated, even though there's this document, right? So it is how we see everything first. So it's the same thing. So it's like, and it's like what we were talking about, you have to ask yourself, what is freedom to me? And you have to think, how does freedom feel, right? Because you're saying, I
Mhm.
want freedom. So it's like, and you're talking about emotions. How does freedom feel to me? And you're probably exercising freedom, but you're not looking at it. So it's like, it's amplifying. I'm not physically in his presence, so I am free of his presence. I am whatever you get it. It's like you already have it in your life. You're hanging out with your friends. You have the freedom to go wherever you want to go because a friend called and said, that's freedom. A piece of paper does not mean that you're not free. And if you
Right.
keep thinking or even caring about, I and even in the frustration of you thinking, I just want to be free of you, right? What you're actually, even is, there's the energy of like, we're still in this together, we're not, right? You're in something with the person. So it really sometimes is, it's like, you know what, I want love, but how do I want to be loved? I want freedom. How am I free? You know what I mean? And how am I going to enjoy my freedom? Peace. That means,
Hmm.
what's the worst thing that could happen? That you stay married to him for another 5 years? It's like, how is that affecting anything that you're doing? I know you're like, but think about it. But you have to get comfortable with a worst case scenario. That's how we
Right.
conquer it. I think people don't realize you got to go down the slippery slope of the worst thing. I will give you an example where I could relate to you. When my husband of 17 years left, and he was the main breadwinner, I was with, we have two daughters. And I remember thinking, what is the worst thing that could happen to me? And the worst thing was, I lost everything, and me with my two girls were moving with my parents. In my mind, that was the worst thing that could happen to me, that I had to go back home as a 40, my age, a 40 something year old, and live with my parents. And when I thought about that as being the worst thing, I realized that is a blessing, to have the ability to go home with, to my parents who loved me. My mother
Hmm.
said, if we had to give you and the girls the house and we move into someplace small, that's how much I was loved. And I think people
Wow.
need to kind of like go to the worst thing and see that there is a blessing in the worst thing that can happen. And when I thought about it and I faced the worst thing, lose everything and go home and live with your parents, that feels like such a failure. It made me say, you know what? I can't do that. What can I do to not let the worst thing happen? So again, if the worst thing is saying married to him for 5 years, it changes something within yourself. There's an acceptance there, right? First off. And then, okay, I need to see how, well, there's just the acceptance. It doesn't mean we want it, right? You know what I mean? So it's just you accept the worst thing, the possibility of the worst thing, and
Mhm.
then it creates a kind of space like, how do I get rid of him faster? Not, you know what I mean? Like, because it's like, instead of fighting the attachment, right? Like,
Yeah,
okay, I
just let
welcome the
go.
solution. There you go. Instead of
Yeah,
fighting
yeah,
the problem and not wanting
like
the problem, yeah, it's kind of like face it, let it go, and welcome the solution. So you may not have the answer. How do I get rid of him faster? You know, but it opens you up. That does not sound right, but you get the point. How do I detach from him faster?
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah, yeah. How do I release that attachment? Yeah, I mean, I that uh,
But you get it. You get it.
I get it. I get it. Yeah, yeah, because there's, I do a lot of energy work about it, cutting the cord and releasing it, and visualizing and releasing with love and forgiveness, and that I practice it daily, and um so I feel like it's happening, and I trust that it's happening even though I can't see it right now. I know it's happening, and so when I release the how and when I surrender the how and when of that, it helps me, it frees me up so that I can focus in other areas that I want to place my attention.
So it's funny, right? Because it's when you said the word trust, do you trust in what you see or do you trust in what you know? Because you just said that
Yeah.
I know it's going to happen and I release it. Because I think what we all need to realize is trust is built in. It's just what we're trusting in. So you're trusting in what you see, which is I'm not divorced or
No,
I'm,
I know it's happening, and I
there you
trust
go.
that if I stop pressing to see it, if I just let go and just allow it to move forward, then it will. But if I'm fighting back, it takes two to tango, right? So if I just let go, there's no fight. There's no resistance, there's no tension. Um and then I just, let go truly, and just know, and be secure in knowing it's happening.
And that's what I'm trying to say. It's like when sometimes we trust in what we see versus trust in what we know. And if you trust in what you know, time is irrelevant. Like when you
Right.
trust in what you know, the only moment that matters is right now and how I feel right now, right? So it's like I
Yeah.
trust in what I know, and what I know is freedom is always available to me. Well-being is always available to me. Peace is always available to me. It's just me tuning into it. It's always there. It's always abundant. It's always around us. And a lot of us, my Zoom just went out because a phone call. Oh, there we go.
Uh,
It's what we it's and I lost my train of thought. But again, it is the only moment that matters is right now. So we just have to trust in what we know, what we feel. And as someone who does a lot of work on her feelings, my eyes are deceiving me. My feelings, I say, is our GPS. It's our unit, it's our
mm,
divine
mm,
GPS. And we just have to feel into what we know. And if we know that we're already
uh,
free,
yeah.
time does not matter. Time does not matter.
Church.
So,
Mm-mm.
is there, and
Yeah.
so we know what you want. So I think you know what you got to do. You know what you
Yeah.
have to do. And and again, to everyone out there that's listening, we're gonna know all the ways, the hows, the techniques, but sometimes we all need the fine tuning. Sometimes we all need the reminder. Sometimes we all need, because when emotions are so intense, we can't just do what we've always been doing, right? It's like,
Right.
so
Right.
far this worked, that worked, but we have to all get to a place where I need to try something new, or I need to tweak, or I just need to like refocus. And that's
Hmm.
all it is. Cause it's like in the moment when you think it's the worst thing that's happening, I'm not, I just truly work hard to find the best in it. How is this working out for me? I know it's working out for me. Right now, it's super intense. How is it working out for me? And you know what? Relax in the knowing
Hmm.
that it's going to work out for us. So, yes.
Hmm.
So, I think
Yeah.
that's what this conversation is, just a reminder to everyone. Is there anything else you want to discuss or touch on, or how are we feeling?
No, no, I think that's great. And that's, it is a nice reminder, um, that's, relax and just trust in the knowing,
And that's
stop
it.
pinching it off.
Yeah. And again, like you said, every day we just have to do the work to focus on how we want to feel. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
awesome. This was
Great.
it was nice meeting you, Echo.
Thanks. You
And I
too,
love the
Rachel. I think,
name. And I
yeah.
love the name.
Oh, thank you. I'll
So,
tell my mom. Thanks.
yes, and when you think about it, is like you're meant to leave your presence beyond the moment. When I think of your name, so you're doing a great job, and I am gonna tag you, or I'm gonna tag you in this video for anyone. And Echoes, I guess your page. You could tell them your Instagram will have more information on what she offers. What's your
Yeah.
Instagram?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll do that on Instagram. Yeah. I don't even know what it is. It could be
It's all
Echo,
right.
Echo
Well,
X.
I'll probably
I
tag
don't even
you.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's Echo, Echo X.
Okay.
So anyway,
Awesome.
that's my page.
Awesome. But thank you for being here. I hope you got what you came here for. My job, like I said, alignment. It's like I literally just hear where people just need to tweak. You're doing the work, you're aligning with the
Yeah.
best version, you're making the effort, and we all need that little reminder to keep trusting in what we know. So, thank you for being here. As always, many blessings to you.
Thank you.